We're going to begin by looking at the hands and the diaphragms of the hands. So a lot of yoga students have various theories of how to put the hands on the floor, and the most popular version you get is keeping the middle fingers parallel to each other and spreading the fingers as much as possible. Just like the diaphragm of the pelvis or the respiratory diaphragm or the throat, we want to make sure that diaphragms, which are giant circles, mostly horizontal circles throughout the body, we want to make sure that the diaphragms are hollow, so you can see the center of the palm is spread, and they're toned, but they're not overstretched. So a lot of times when we put the hands on the floor, we tend to overstretch the hands until the tendons stick out of the hands. And this causes the hands to just push into the floor. So the feeling we want to have in the hands, and we're going to explain later how this relates to the wrists and the shoulders, is we want to set up the hands so that the center of the palm is hollow, just like the roof of the mouth, so that when the hand comes down onto the floor, it's like a suction cup. So it'll be hard to tell the difference between whether you're pushing into the floor or whether you're pulling off of the floor. Just like an underwater sea creature, you want to be able to move into the pushing action and the pulling action equally. So the best way to find the hand position is to take 3 points of the hand. The first point is going to be called the root of the index finger. The second point is the root of the thumb. And the third point is the base of the thumb. When we get these 3 points on the floor, the center of the palm hollows out if you're not overspreading the fingers. So if you look down the center of your arm, the central axis of the arm, the space right between the wrist, the center of the wrist, is actually the root of the index finger. So these are the 3 points that we're going to place on the hand. The root of the index finger, the root of the thumb, and the base of the thumb, in such a way that the top of the hand is soft and the tendons are not poking out of the hand. And lastly, the center of the palm is hollow, just like your armpit and just like the roof of the mouth. One of the ways to feel this hollowness of the palm is by taking the thumb and reaching it all the way over to the root of the baby finger. So the center of the palm is hollow, and there's a space which we call the carpal tunnel that runs through the center of the wrist. Then we'll catch hold of the index finger, just like a lever, and you want to hold the entire finger, not just the tip, or you'll break your finger in this exercise, which is embarrassing. So if you hold the root of the index finger and you start pulling it back in space, and then you resist with the hand slightly, you'll notice if you look down the arm that the center of the palm and the center of the wrist hollow out. And that's what we're looking for. So that's going to be the first stretch we're going to explore, which is hollowing out the diaphragm of the palm, which if you're sensitive, you'll feel all the way up through the center of the armpit and the roof of the mouth. And then you can do the same thing with the other side. So the thumb reaches all the way over to the root of the baby finger. We catch hold of the lever of the index finger. We pull back, making sure not to lock the left elbow. And then I'll resist slightly with my hand, which creates a carpal tunnel through the center of the palm and the center of the wrist. And you can repeat this as many times as you like. Then, from here, I'm going to put the hands on the floor, just feeling how when the index fingers are parallel to each other, then the center of the palm is hollow and doesn't land on the floor. One of the other practices that I like to explore, especially as I'm warming up before my yoga practice, is I'll take my fingers and I'll catch hold of the mat, and then I'll pull off the mat like so, just like I'm puffing up the mat. I don't sleep in a regular bed, I sleep on my yoga mat. So in the morning, this is what I do. I come onto my yoga mat and I puff up the mat like this. So if you look carefully, the key here is the fingertips come down onto the mat, and as they get air, the fingertips don't actually touch one another. So this is the key, how to get height without letting the fingertips touch. And I like to do this for about a minute with each hand. And as you catch hold of the mat, you want to try and grip the mat, and as you get air, you want to feel the hollowness of the palm with breathing. You'll notice after you do this with both hands that the center of the palm naturally gets hollow. So this is the diaphragm of the hand. The center is hollow. That action replicates all the way through the arm and into the center of the armpit. And then after you've done this on both sides, you can bring the index fingers parallel, spread the thumbs, and keep the center of the palm hollow. And then this is going to be how we're going to set up the hands in all of the hand positions where we're weight bearing.